Welcome to the Profitpreneur Power Play podcast, your daily dose of strategies, insights, and action steps to grow your business and build your freedom. It's time to stop playing small and start making power plays.
All right. Hello. Welcome to our podcast this morning. Really excited to have this guest back. We told you we'd bring her back because she's giving so much good stuff here. Bree Lewis. Oh my gosh. She has her own, several Faceless YouTube channels that are super successful. One of which I believe has over 50,000 subs. And she was able to accomplish that in a very short period of time. So last week we had her on talking about, how how would you go about creating faceless content, and just some really key things to consider that a lot of people don't really talk about. So really happy to have her back. So Bree, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hey. All right, cool. I will leave you to it.
Okay. Alrighty, so we are basically just going to be picking up kind of where I left off last time with talking about faceless content. So if you didn't see that one, you need to go see that one, listen to that one, then come back to this one. Okay. So yes, just to give a brief recap, last time I had talked to you guys about a lot of the benefits to faceless content, especially, for those that prefer privacy, for those of you that, may not necessarily be able to do faceless content, do content. You have to do faceless content due to your job, things like that. But today I wanted to talk a little bit more about long form content versus short form content. But I'm gonna touch on the faceless. So yeah, like I said, a couple of things that I wasn't able to get to, certain things I wanted to elaborate on or add on, but it came up like when we were answering a couple of questions. So if you end up leaving questions here again, then I don't know. I might have to do a part 3. But anyway, so yes, to start, when it comes to long form content, I am an advocate for long form all day, all night, all week, all century. Okay. That's not to say that short form content isn't great. Not to say that, you can't profit from it. And I know for some of you, it's like, what's this girl talking about? Because everyone's doing short form content. Like, what's she talking about? But I'm going to get to that. And when I tell you what I'm going to tell you, you can be like, oh, wait a minute. I might have to rethink what I'm doing. I might have to rethink my plans. Okay. So first of all, I grew up basically when social media was popping off. Okay. I grew up in the midst of, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Jeff, say good morning. Great, excellent. What else? What else was coming out at the time? Snapchat. I was there for it all. Okay, so y'all 100%. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, YouTube, when it first came out, there was no other website like it, and I'm going to be predominantly talking about YouTube because that is honestly the place to go when it comes to long form content. You don't think, let me go to TikTok to watch a 20-minute video. No one is saying that. Okay. So when it first came out, YouTube was long form content, right? I think the first video I ever posted to YouTube was titled "Me at the Zoo," right? And you can still actually find the video today. The guy that posted it still actually responds to comments, but that's neither here nor there. I thought that was funny, and y'all might want to know that. But it was titled "Me at the Zoo." Right now, to me, long form content is anything that's over 2 minutes. And I know that sounds crazy because it's like, well, 5 minutes isn't a long time. But when you're sitting there on your phone watching a video, yes, it is. So anything longer than 1 to 2 minutes, I was going to originally say anything longer than a minute, to be real with y'all. Okay, but anything longer than 2 minutes, to me, technically is considered long form content because you really have to sit there and pay attention to it. Okay, so YouTube came out, I think it was maybe around 2004, 2005, I think. And then I would say maybe 4 to 5 years in, around that 2009, 2010 era. A lot of people say that was like, if you ask them, they will tell you that was like the golden age of YouTube. You had Smosh, you had The Key of Awesome. Who else? You had Lonely Girl 15. You had all these users. And mind you, that was years ago, and I can remember them. I'm recalling them right now because their content was that interesting. That their content locked me in, and we're going to talk about that as well. but I just wanted to point that out to you guys. Okay. So after YouTube, then all these other platforms are like, we're losing people to these social platforms. Now, that's not the way to look at it, right? Instagram originally was designed to be Instagram, pictures, right? Share pictures. That's it. What you add video for, right? So you had Snapchat doing videos. You had Vine. Vine is now defunct, but Vine used to be 6 seconds. You had 6 seconds to post a video, and that was it, right? You had 6 seconds with Vine. Like I said, Instagram came out with their reels, and you had Musical.ly, which is what TikTok originally was, and now it's TikTok. And that made short videos, short form content more popular. It was like this what's the word I want to use? It was just everywhere. It was popular. So everyone was like, cool, let's just make that. Now, what we don't realize, though, is that our brains, like I've said in previous calls, our brains get used to patterns, right? So short form blew up because it's what we started to see all the time. And it's also easier to digest, right? You don't have to sit there watching or listening to somebody for 20, 30 minutes. You scroll, watch a video, haha, that was funny. Scroll, haha, that was funny. You always get these constant hits of something new, something fresh, something exciting, right? It's very quick and to the point. But what happens when you get used to seeing it and you're not getting those dopamine hits anymore, right? Now, for me, like I said, I'm a little bit biased because I've predominantly made long form content. I wouldn't be able to tell you guys about short form, so please don't ask me. I know a couple of things about short form content, but not really. Now, another thing is, and this is what happened to me, I think, is because short form content is so prevalent and it's what most people are doing, it makes your content stand out being long form because you put a break in the pattern, right? If you are playing red light, green light, and a yellow light suddenly comes up, right? That disrupts your brain from going, oh, it's not black and white. I need to take a second and process what I'm looking at, right? And it's the same thing with long form content. For people to be scrolling, and then boom, your long form video comes up. Their brain is like, everybody stop. And then it has to pay attention. It quite literally, people joke and say, oh, I got to lock in, meaning focus. But that's exactly what your brain does, right? And I've mentioned this before as well in other calls. There's a current wave of people right now that are either toning down their screen time or they are quitting social media or whatever the case may be, right? And they are trying to stop the endless scroll. That's what it's called. I remember when endless scroll became a thing. This was like back when I was maybe like 14, 15, Tumblr had introduced a specific code for blogs where you can now endlessly scroll. You used to have to click, okay, here's page 1, here's page 2, here's page 3. But when they introduced the endless scroll, you could just sit there and you don't have to click anything. It's just the most minimal amount of movement possible, moving your thumb, right? So people are trying to now dismantle that. 10 years later, about 10 years later, exactly, people are trying to break that habit and break that pattern. And guess what? What do you have to do on TikTok? Scroll. What do you have to do on Instagram to see reels? Scroll. You know what you don't have to scroll to see endless videos on? YouTube. It disrupts the pattern. YouTube, yes, you can scroll through a search, but to actually watch the content, you have to click on the video, let the video load, sit there, watch it. You want to watch a different video? You got to go all the way up to the search bar, type in what you're looking for, click on another video. It's more effort because it's not just swiping your thumb. And I know that's like, is that really that big of a deal? Yes, it is that big of a deal. Subconsciously, it is that big of a deal, right? So YouTube breaks that pattern, right? Now, another thing that I noticed is, and this is to your favor, right? Even myself, when I thought about it, a lot of people do not consider YouTube to be social media. Now, it is social media because guess what? You can be social on it. You can type comments, right? You can respond to comments. Back in the day, YouTube removed it, but you used to be able to favorite videos. You used to be able to do video responses. Someone would post a video and you could respond with your own video. They got rid of all that. But it used to be far more social than how it seems now, right? And a lot of people also don't consider YouTube to be social media, because there's some people where they have a profile, but they don't comment on anything. They never comment on a video. They don't even like videos. They just watch what they want to see, right? Excuse me. And just like Netflix or Hulu, right, they get to look up and find whatever content they feel like watching at the time. They get to follow and subscribe to the creators that they want. Because hear me when I say this as well. Another problem that a lot of people are complaining about with TikTok and Instagram and all that is there's too many ads. And the second thing is that they don't ever see the people that they're following. They see a bunch of random videos from other people, but they don't actually see the people that they follow. YouTube does not have that problem. Do you get recommendations from other channels? Yes. But when you hit subscribe, guess what? You can turn on the bell. And again, you can turn on the bell notifications for the other social platforms too. But the algorithm is not forcing content. It's not the people you follow in your face, right? YouTube, you subscribe, it shows up in your feed. New video from so-and-so. You always see the content from those people. So YouTube, even though it has also changed and developed over time, it is the one social platform that I personally feel like is still somewhat in favor of the consumers of YouTube, right? The viewers. It's still in our favor, right? So keep that in mind. Oh, good morning. All right. Now, on top of that, all right, aside from Netflix and Hulu and all that, YouTube's also free. It's free. You're not paying no $12.99 a month, $15.99 a month, no ads for YouTube. Now, can you get YouTube Premium? Yes, absolutely. But to watch the content you want to watch on YouTube, it is free. Okay. Now, you guys have probably heard the saying, if something is free, then that means you're the product, right? That is the case with YouTube, right? YouTube is selling to you. It's just, by means of ads, sponsorships that people put in their videos. So it's free, but of course you're still getting marketed to. You are the product. People are using not your data, but people's analytics and stuff. They're using that to be able to generate and make more content. So I digress, but I just wanted to point that out. Right. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention is that one thing that I have never forgotten was YouTube's original, their original slogan, right? I'm not sure what it is now. I do know that they changed it, but back when YouTube came out when I was younger, their slogan was broadcast yourself. And that was it. Broadcast yourself, right? And I feel like that is the era that we are now right back in, right? It's people trying to broadcast themselves. It's people, just sharing their life advice. It's people, showing their baseball card collection, right? It's people showing the things that they like, showing the things that make them who they are, showing the things that give them enrichment in life. And people, we are watching it. We're tired of seeing, the influencers and the celebrities like, okay, we get it. We know what y'all do. Y'all all do the same thing. I want to see Joe Blow down the street talking about back in the day when he was a part of a biker gang with his homies. You know what I'm saying? Right? We want to see things that are different. We it's like I said earlier with patterns, you get so used to seeing something that you start craving something else, right? You got to shake the system up a little bit. All right. And another thing that I think people forget with YouTube is like I said in my last call, I was talking more about faceless, but I've heard so many people say, oh, well, I don't know. I might be boring. I might not be interesting. I don't think people are searching for me. You have no idea what people are searching for and how often they're searching for it. For me, when I posted my videos, I had no idea how many people were looking for what I was looking for. I thought maybe a couple people, sure, but not millions. But I didn't know that. And I had to stop assuming what other people are or aren't doing and do what I wanted to do, which was post my videos. So it's the same thing with you guys. Every single one of you, there is something interesting about you. There is something that someone somewhere can relate to. That there's someone that's like, man, I really wish somebody like me was posted. I wish I could find so-and-so. Just a while back, I posted a video unrelated to what I normally do. And it wasn't necessarily faceless. I posted a video talking about my hair and how I did my hair. And I had a woman leave a long comment saying, I have never seen anybody do this the way that you did it. I have been looking all over for this for years. I stopped looking and then your video just popped up on my recommended. So glad I was able to find this. This is so helpful. I will be subscribing. It's stuff like that. Now, given I put that video up, so like I think a month ago, it was a while ago, and yet she still found me. I didn't have to go out of my way looking for people trying to find them. She found me. She was looking and I just didn't know. And she'd been looking for a long time. So it's the same thing. Okay. Keep that in mind. Stop assuming what people are or aren't going to be looking for or want from you. If you feel the prompting, if you feel the urging, if you know that you have value just solely off of your experiences and your existence, then get to posting. Okay. Get to posting. No excuses. All right. Now, another reason why I really support long form content is just from paying attention to how I use it. Not only how I make it, but how I use it, right? How does long form content affect me, right? I will cut on, a podcast or something while I'm working, while I'm cleaning, while I'm organizing stuff, right? Like I told you guys, I love video essays. I love deep dives on niche topics, right? Videos. What else do people normally watch? Other people. People watch, hours of people debating each other, right? There's always something, some kind of content that people have on in the background, right? For example, there's some of those channels where people will take a camera, right? They'll go for a hike somewhere. They'll set up a camera, just put it up and just record the scenery. 3 hours of ocean waves or something like that. I know y'all have seen it. I know you know what I'm talking about. Okay, don't pretend. I know you know what I'm talking about. The 3 hour, forest sounds. And people are monetizing that stuff and making money off of that. 3 hour long, here's the forest. Look at the forest. But you want to sit up here and act like you can't post nothing. Y'all, people are literally sitting there cutting on 3 hour long videos of the forest. And you were sitting here talking about, I don't know if anyone's going to want to watch me. So I definitely love long form content. Yes, exactly. Right. And then, like I said earlier about wisdom videos, I've seen quite a few people, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds on YouTube, y'all, 80-year-olds on YouTube, talking about all the things I've lived through, my biggest regrets in life, acquiring millions of views, just sitting there talking about their experiences, talking about their lives. This is why I said I love YouTube's slogan, because it's so simple. That's exactly what you're doing. And really, you are broadcasting yourself all the time, right? Even when you leave your house, technically, you are broadcasting yourself. You just don't realize it. And I like the fact that even though YouTube has changed over time, that overall message, that sentiment has never changed. It may have kind of faded in the background, but it is still like you're seeing like a renaissance, basically, of that. Okay. Now, I will also say this. If you are looking to make more profitable content, I will also suggest long form content, especially on YouTube, right? This is just simply, there's more room for sponsors, for ad space, right? If you have a 10-minute long video, you could put 5 ads in it, 2-minute long ads. Not that you should do that. Hopefully you put in skippables, right? But there's more time for more ads and more placement to go. A lot of sponsors as well, they feel more comfortable putting their ads in a video that's also longer, right? Especially if they know you have great retention. They will be like, okay, we'll put our ads so wherever most people normally fall off your video, put our ad like slightly a minute or two before that. That's typically how that works. And I'm saying that because I've also gotten sponsors. I've gotten sponsor deals before. And a lot of the time they will want you to do videos of certain durations and stuff like that. So if you already make content that's long, they'll be like, oh, okay, great. This person's perfect. They're a perfect candidate. Okay. Another thing I want to say about long form content is that it gives more time for your audience to build a relationship with you, right? How many of you have watched a video of someone and thought, I really like this person, right? Boom, subscribe. I like their vibe, subscribe. I like what they're saying. I like the info they're giving me, subscribe, right? Short form content. What typically happens? You see a video, haha, that's funny. And what do? You scroll on. You forget that you even saw it. I were to ask you if any of y'all cracked open your phone this morning. Hello, Crystal. Good morning. If I were to ask you what you saw on your phone, you probably wouldn't be able to tell me. You probably don't even remember what the reel was, what the short video was, right? But if I ask you, oh, well, what was the last YouTube video you watched? More than likely, you will probably remember because it was a longer form of content. It was a longer video, okay? But anyway, to get back to my main point, the longer people are spending time with you, the more of a connection they're forming and building. And that also increases your retention rate too. There's been a couple of people where I clicked on their video and just wanted to skim through it real quick to get to the point. But I liked them so much, I ended up getting lost in the content. I was like, hold on, what you talking about? And went right back to the beginning and watched the entire thing through. That's retention. Much, much higher retention rate with long form content, right? And like I said, I'll find 13, 15-minute video. I'll cut on a YouTube video while I'm eating in between working, right? So YouTube is always typically the go-to. And what's funny is I purposely won't, between my breaks, get on TikTok or Instagram Reels because I know, I'm going to end up scrolling and wasting time. I'd rather go to YouTube. Again, video starts, video stops, done. There's far more discipline, I feel like, with YouTube than there is with the endless scroll, and people are picking up on that, like I told you guys. Okay. Excuse me. Now, another thing that I want to touch on is, even when I was little, right, before vlogging was called vlogging, like before even selfies were a thing, right, I remember I used to come back from school and I would watch YouTube. And I would watch, like, there was this one girl, I can't remember her name now, but she would talk about her day at school, talk about stuff she learned, talk about like her friends and what she was going to do for the summer with her her family and stuff like that. And I just thought, this is cool. She's so cool, right? Because at the time I wasn't in high school yet, but she was. So it was like, it was entertaining for me, even though it was something really, really simple, right? And it's little things like that. And I'm pushing this point repeatedly because, again, you have no idea who is looking for you. You have no idea what people want to watch, right? We also are in a time where I feel like YouTube makes people feel connected. It makes people feel like they are more connected than the other socials, right? People are finding people are finding themselves through other people. Like I said, for me, wasn't in high school yet, but watching her content, I felt like she was my BFF. I felt like she was like a big sister to me or something like that. Right? Not given that's parasocial, but I know that that's something that I could not get. That's not something I would feel, or that I can make someone feel towards me through the means of short form content. Okay. Now, I had mentioned earlier, building a subconscious relationship with your viewers, right? And this was mentioned on the last call that I did, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of data. All right. Now, YouTube literally does have more viewing time among all the other streaming platforms. Okay. YouTube holds 21%. That's almost a quarter. That's almost a quarter, y'all. YouTube, 21%. Netflix has 16. You heard that correctly. Netflix has 16. YouTube, more people are watching and consuming content, streaming content on YouTube than they are on Netflix. And probably for all the reasons that I've just told you guys right now, it's a little bit, it's more curated. Right? It's shorter content, right? I'll be honest with y'all, I'm starting to get tired of the 40-minute long episodes. I can't do the 40-minute, 1 hour long episodes no more. Okay. I can't do it. Right. I prefer sitcoms these days. 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. Let's go back to the duration of Friends episodes. Okay. That's what I like. And guess what? YouTube, like I said, minimum 10 minutes for content. That is a sweet spot for people like me. Now, given I know I just said something about long form content and then I'm bashing the longest long form content, which is TV, but I'll get back to that. Okay. But like I was saying, 21% for YouTube, 16% for Netflix, and I think 10% for Hulu, right? And then I think another report that I saw, YouTube holds, I think 12.5% in terms of total TV viewing in general, right? So YouTube wins in that regard. It wins in terms of what people are looking at, where their eyeballs are going to, and what they're choosing to pay attention to and watch. Guess what? If that's where people are going, why not have people looking at you? All right. That's how my brain sees. I'm like, 21%. I guess I need to get in on that. Right. And another thing that I want to touch on, because you guys know me, I got to get into the mindset, right? Mindset with Brie, right? Is that with short form content, TikToks, YouTube shorts, reels, and short videos adjacent, they are feeding on your working memory, right? They're feeding on your short-term memory, right? And this is This system is very quick. It's a temporary system. It's supposed to hold information for a little while and then let it go and dismiss it as not important, right? So it's easily forgettable. I want you to hear me. Your content is easily forgettable and replaced with another piece of content immediately after it. On TikTok, you watch a TikTok, guess what? You scroll to the next one. Oh, new piece of content for your brain to absorb. You watch it. Oh, that's done. Like that is how your brain is absorbing this content. So I want you to really think about it. Short form content, I'm not saying it's not great. I'm not saying it's not profitable. It's not as beneficial as long form content. It comes and it goes. Okay. And like I just said, your brain is constantly getting hit with a new sound, a new joke, a new person's face, right? New information, right? And it is giving you dopamine hits. But here's the problem. People have been getting these hits for years. And do you know what happens over time when you get used to something? You get tired of it. You get bored, right? It doesn't have the same feeling. It doesn't have the same novelty that it had initially, right? Now, for me, I didn't start using TikTok personally until the pandemic hit, and that was 2020. So that's been 5 years of me getting my dopamine hits from short form content. And guess what? I'm tired. I don't really care to watch these short videos anymore. Like I told you guys, I like the deep dives, right? Now, here's another thing. Well, actually, let me continue this point. So this is one of the reasons why I think we're seeing a resurgence of long form content again. People, the dopamine hits are starting to wear off. People are realizing I'm kind of damaging my short-term memory a little bit sitting up here watching all this short form content because I can't really remember anything. My brain has gotten so used to doing it because I'm on my phone all the time that when it's time for me to use my short-term memory for things that are like actually important, I'm forgetting stuff or I can't really remember. So they are now trying to, be a little proactive. I know I'm being a little proactive with cutting down the scrolling usage. Okay. So, excuse me, with short form content, your brain doesn't really get to just sit in the moment. It doesn't really get to sit and dwell or process, what it's looking at or what it's absorbing, right? When you're in deep conversation with somebody, when you're reading a book, right? When you are sitting down to watch a TV show or watch a movie, right? Your brain is preparing itself. Your brain goes, all right, short term, we don't need you. It's time to lock in. We're about to absorb a lot of information right now. So let's get really attentive. Let's pay close attention, right? And when your brain does this, it's using 2 types of memory. 2 versus short form, you're using 1, right? And you're using 1 that comes and goes, right? But long form, you're using 2. And you're using your semantic memory and your episodic. I think that's it. Those 2 forms of memory. And those are the parts of your memory also that are adding meaning. They're adding story. They are adding personal connection, emotional connection to whatever it is that you are watching or consuming, right? Another thing is when you're watching or absorbing longer form content, your brain slips into a totally different state, right? You're slipping into the theta and alpha states, right? And those states of mind are more reflective. They're more receptive. If you're into subliminal messaging and things like that, theta is the best place for you to be mentally because you are more absorbent, like a sponge, right? And this is why, there might be a seminar or a TED talk or a scene that you read in a book or something like that, that even though you may have read it once or heard it once, you still to this day remember it. You had a much deeper connection with it. You had a much deeper connection to it. That's why all these years later, I can name creators. Some of them don't even make content anymore, right? I can recall content that I watched like when I was like 10, 9, 8 years old because I built that connection with it that I didn't subconsciously realize was getting built. Okay. So like I was saying, long form just gives you more of more time to connect, more time to let the content kind of linger, right? And especially on YouTube, long form content, I feel like also gets more engagement because again, you are bonding with your audience. So you know what they're going to feel inclined to do? Bond with you back. So what are they going to do? Comment, like, subscribe, right? And then that gets your engagement up. Now, again, people do, like I said, people do these things with short form, but not in the same way, not in the same frequency that they do with long form content. Okay. And to close, I will make this final point. All right. And I want y'all to really think about this. The number one thing that I love to do is go back to the basics. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay. You got certain companies that be like, oh, new and improved toaster oven. I'm like, well, what was wrong with the last one? I didn't complain about the last toaster oven, new and improved. I didn't ask for that. Right? Nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for the new and improved. Right. And I'm sure some of you might have, like a device or something that you're just like, oh, I have it. Still got it. I didn't upgrade to the newest anything because what I got still works. Right. Anyway, I'm getting on track. Closing point is, a lot of you also need to realize, like I said, back to the basics, long form content is what you are already ingrained and programmed to like, to feel comfortable with. When you learn how to read as a kid, how to write, when your parents are sitting there talking to you, teaching you how to speak, all of that technically is long form engagement. That is long form content, right? When you were in school, elementary school, middle school, high school, right? You had to read books, do essays on certain things that you read, right? Had to learn that MLA format, right? Before phones and social media, what did you do? You used to sit down and engage in deep, long conversations with people. YouTube, you're watching a video. What is that? A long conversation. It's a deep conversation. I mean, you're not communicating back with the creator, but you're engaged in it. Short term is something that has also probably been around, right? Technically, short form would be like if you're driving your car and you pass a billboard on the street. That's short form. But guess what? You forgot it. You forget it. It ignites your memory for a split second, but then it's gone. But you have essentially probably grown up on and been raised on long form content. And that is the reason why I think it's not going anywhere. That's why when everyone got all crazed about short form, oh, we need to do the TikTok. We got to do the Vine. No, you don't. No, you don't. And what I've also been seeing is a lot of these short form creators are moving over to YouTube. The long form content creators like me be like, how you doing? What's going on? Now you want to come over here, come over onto this island. We've been here, right? I'm just joking. But yes, they are starting to move over to YouTube. And I think that in and of itself says everything y'all need to know. And again, not bashing short form at all. It definitely serves its purpose, right? I have times where I want to do a makeup look. I don't want to sit there watching 30 minutes, somebody blending the eyeshadow into their crease 38 times with a brush. I don't want to see that, okay? Show me what colors you use, the product's done. That I will look for short form content because I need it literally for that moment or for that night, for that date, whatever it is I'm going to go do. I need it for that moment and that's it. But people are naturally inclined to look for long form content, right? We are human beings with brains. We like to use our brains. So people, a lot of the time, I want to go watch something. I want to learn something new. It's in our nature to want to do that. And that is perfectly suited for long form content. So keep that in mind. Long form is the way to go. I'm just saying. I'm biased. But hopefully all my points that I made are things that you guys will think about and consider, and you will join the long form content bandwagon.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I just for me, I've naturally been drawn to long form content. It's probably because I'm long-winded. But yeah, like you said, the short form has its purpose, right? And then, with long form though, and especially putting your long form on YouTube, it's there forever. You're always going to be able to have people that can find your long form, and it gives you an opportunity to go more in detail with what you want to talk about. You don't feel rushed. I know for me personally, and you guys can let us know if you feel this way, but a lot of times I feel like I have to hurry up and say what I got to say in like 30 seconds or less. And it misses some of the nuances of longer form content. And just like you said, even connection, you don't make a connection with people in 5 seconds, right? You can form an impression in a few seconds, but the connection is something totally different. And building businesses like what we talk about online, whether it's network marketing, affiliate marketing, creating a product that you want to make sure that people buy over and over again, or having digital services, people need a chance to get to know you a little bit better, and like you said, they'll subscribe and say, hey, I really like this person, or I like what they have to say, or I like what they contribute to me. They're the viewer is always thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
So that's always something important to think about. But yeah, we gonna need you to come back, because you're gonna need to do a part 3 and more stuff. But yeah, this has been gold. And I know, like I said, these are the things that a lot of people do not talk about when they tell you about doing a YouTube channel, or in particular doing faceless YouTube channels. This is true conversation. This is what is so freaking important.
Yeah.
And I see, hold on. So Jeff was saying short form can help you get found, and top of mind long form keeps them engaged.
Yeah.
That's true. But honestly, even long form can get you found and top of mind, because YouTube will put it at the top of people's mind and recommend it.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of creators these days that I've seen, it is short form. They'll do like a TikTok or something and it'll go viral. For example, I've seen a couple of girls, they'll show like their hairstyle or whatever. People are like, oh, we need a tutorial. And then they go and link them over to YouTube where the tutorial is. So
yeah. And that's something else. I love to use this this tool that allows me to take my long form and break it down into short form videos. So this way I got a safety net, right? For the people that like watching the short form, they'll get to see me. But for the people that I might grab their attention with the short form, but if I want to keep it, like, what Jeff is talking about, keep them engaged, then I have a way to do that by pointing them to the full video. Right. Plus, with especially with shorts, they can subscribe, I believe, straight from the short if they want. So there's just so much that you can do with these. It is so freaking cool. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I'll say this because we got to go, but I'll also say this is why the YouTube platform, I feel, is more powerful than the social media platforms, because technically YouTube is not a social media platform. Like you said, back in the day, it was a little bit more social, but even, now, not really.
Yeah.
Right. It's more of a of a broadcast.
Yeah.
But with that, you have to remember, even though on social media, you can get social with your pictures, your posts, and even short video, and in some cases, some longer video too. TikTok at one point was recommending to me that I do at least a minute and up to 10 minutes. Like, it was recommending that for me. And I was like, what? I thought we were supposed to do like 5-second videos. Like, what?
Yeah. You know what? I think, if I remember correctly, I think the only reason why TikTok went from doing the really, really short videos was because Instagram introduced Reels and people could make those long. So TikTok was like, oh, we got to compete. We won't let people do 10-minute videos now.
Yeah. So with the social media, again, remember, that's only there temporarily. And then it's gone. And it doesn't matter how good your video was. It doesn't matter how viral it went. It's going to be done. And then nobody will really see it again, unless they are like avid followers of you and they just keep scrolling through your content until they find it again. Or recommended, YouTube will make it found. They will make it where people will search for something, and because your video's been up there long enough and been getting engagement, it starts to read and understand more and more about your video the longer it's up there, to show it to more and more people looking for your video or something similar to your video. Right. And social media platforms just do not do that. So with it being a search engine, it's so powerful. Plus you can embed it into your blogs and you can put it into your social media to drive traffic back here. But I feel like YouTube is your evergreen place to be. Like, if you don't do anything else, look, there are people that don't have any social media. They just do YouTube, and they have all of these followers, all this engagement, memberships, monetization, and all of that, doing just fine with just YouTube. It's very difficult to do that with just one social media platform, and that's it. You'll
Yes.
start on one and then you have to spread yourself out to the other ones and all that. But if anything, people on YouTube, if they get on other socials, they will start with YouTube and share
Right.
their content on those platforms to bring the people back to YouTube.
Yeah.
That's
And
always
one more thing I wanted to say that I forgot about were in terms of monetization as well, were rates. YouTube, I feel like, you know, most people know YouTube, you have your AdSense monetization. And then, like I mentioned, you can also get your sponsorships with YouTube. When you use stuff like Instagram and TikTok, you get paid by your rates. So that's not only how many followers you have, but your engagement as well. Whereas YouTube is strictly, okay, views. How many people are looking at what you do? Great, done. You can have multiple viral videos, done. But when you are using the other platforms, with the rates, it's a little more hit or miss, because if you have a certain amount of followers and you get a certain amount of engagement, that's going to change how you get paid. If you have if you get little engagement but you have a lot of followers, you're not really going to be able to make much money from that, because they're like, well, who cares if you got 10,000 people if only 100 people look at your stuff?
Yeah.
So again, YouTube kind of wins there as well in terms of rates, profit, monetizing it, all of that.
Yeah, that's so good. All right, we're gonna go, you guys. We've been on here like twice as long as we normally are and supposed to be. But like I said, we need to come back for a part 3, probably a part 4. We'll make this a whole month's worth of content for you guys, because it's really important to cover these things. People can tell you, oh, make a video by using these tools and go over here and go over there, but to really understand how to make it last and make sure that you stay motivated, you stay committed so that you can stay consistent. These are the things that need to get talked about. So I just love it. All right. Thank you so much, Bree. And listen, you guys, remember that with the Profitpreneur community, grabbing a membership allows you to be able to learn so much of this stuff. We're actually even thinking about adding on an additional education track for you guys that will come early next year. If you want it, though, we ain't going to spend all this time putting this training together and y'all don't want it. So let us know if you want an education track for content creation specifically. Like maybe you solely want to make your money or want another way to make money through simply creating content, so that you start getting things like the monetization or the AdSense and sponsorships and things like that. If that's something you're interested in, we're starting to gather some intel from folks like Bree, who have large channels, large audiences that are helping us put this together if you want it. So again, that'll come out early next year if we get enough feedback that that's something that's desired. So yeah, very, very happy. Jeff says 2 times longer is all good. And he says, yes, please, for the additional track. All right, cool. So we'll figure all of that out and get it out there to you guys, because we want to make Profitpreneur something where people realize, oh, this is actually different. This is a place where I can come to learn real stuff and to do it right. And when I say right, I'm not just talking about, oh, did I put the right title on my thumbnail? No, I'm talking about ethically, morally, in a way that truly connects with other human beings. I am so sick and tired of people showing hacks all the time. Like, can we get back to engaging? Can we get back to being real? Can we get back to actually caring about our audience? That's what we're all about. So if that is something that interests you, make sure that you subscribe to this channel and come and check out the Profitpreneur. We've got a 14-day trial. At the time we're recording this, the trial is free, but it may end up being $7. $7 for 2 whole weeks. That's 50 cents a day that you can come and check us out. If you love us, stick with us, but realize that this is true training. So you got to look at it like this is a tuition that I'm paying, only it's much more affordable. But I'm going to get the knowledge that I need to actually make my money back. You know, sometimes college will trick you and they're like, oh yeah, take out this loan and pay this tuition and you'll make all this money because you have a degree. And then you're like, where's my money? And it takes 30 and 40 years to make it back. So we're not doing that to y'all. You'll actually get skills that will really pay your bills. So we're happy to be able to provide that to you. Again, thank you guys so much. And we'll see you back here again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. For now, a little bit of tech. So get ready for that. Thank Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one.